What's up, dream builder? Are you someone who's interested in creating a life by your design through all things real estate? Well, I can assure you, you are in the right place. Join me, your host, Casanova Brooks. I'm an award-winning real estate agent and investor as we uncover the top tips, strategies, and the mindset of the top real estate entrepreneurs across the world. Stay locked in because we're about to go on a journey that will change your life. What's up, family? So hope everybody is having a great day. And today I'm going to take it for a lot of people. They've been reaching out to me. Of course, you all know that I'm very, very heavy in the real estate industry. A lot of people have reached out to me over the last months and, weeks, days. Every single day I get a message and somebody's looking to get into real estate. Some people are only looking to invest, but a lot of people are also looking to get out of their job, so they need to be able to replace that income right away. And they maybe don't want to jump cold turkey into entrepreneurship because everybody has different tolerance levels and everybody has a different situation that they come from and who they're providing for right now. So some people, they want to get into real estate, but they want to look at my trajectory. So they reach out to me about being a real estate agent. And I tell people all the time, being a real estate agent, there's nothing absolutely wrong with it. I absolutely love it because it gives me an opportunity to help other people turn dreams into a reality. So what do I mean by that? When people reach out to me and they say, hey, what is it that you do? If I'm at a networking event, if somebody reaches out to me on Instagram or LinkedIn and they don't get a clear picture of it, well, then I tell them I help other people create reality out of their dreams. And they say, what does that mean? It says, well, hey, have you ever dreamed of owning a home, or do you currently own a home? And people will say, well, I don't, but I'm working on my credit. I'm working on my down payment. So they're right there expressing to me that they have a dream. And so I say, well, that's exactly what I do. I help people come up with the step-by-step plan of how they can get pre-approved for a loan, and then eventually they can buy their own home, whether that be a single family home, a multi-family home, or even apartment building. They're going to live in one of the units, and maybe it's an 8-unit apartment complex, and they're going to rent out the other 7. The bottom line is I help people turn their dreams into a reality through real estate. So that's what I want to talk to you all about today. And I want to tell you, for a lot of people, maybe right now you're thinking about getting your real estate license, or maybe you already have your real estate license, but you're looking to figure out how can you not be one of, because they say 77% of all, and this comes from the National Association of Realtors, but 77% of all people who get their license within the first 5 years, they no longer have their license in the business, which is huge, right? I listened one day, I was listening to a podcast and they said real estate is the easiest business to get into, but the hardest to actually be successful at, which is 100% true. Because when most people, when they first get their license, they've gone through the classes and then they're proud, they're excited, which you should be. But what those classes don't do is they don't teach you how to market, they don't teach you how to build relationships, and they don't teach you how to close deals. What they really do is teach you how to not go in front of the state real estate commission to not get your license revoked. So there's a whole nother level. So when we start talking about training, support, systems, how to grow a business, right? How to be a better leader, how to communicate effectively. All of these things are very, very important to being able to grow your real estate business, that a lot of the times you're relying on your brokers and the associate brokers and just the other successful agents in your office. But ask any agent who's been in the business for more than 6 months, they'll tell you, especially if they're newer in the business, they're going to tell you that, hey, that is not very easy to learn from these people. Why? Is because first, importantly, if you're not on their team, they're moving very fast and you don't feel like you don't want to be a burden to them. So you don't feel like you can really ask them all the questions, right? And then they don't have any financial interest in you to truly help you. Now, a lot of people are selfless, but at the end of the day, most real estate agents, another thing that you're going to find if you're newer in the business or if you're thinking about getting into the business, is that most real estate agents are very transactional, right? They don't understand how to build relationships. That's why you'll find some agents in offices, let's just be real, that have been in for 8 to 10 years, but they're still calling expireds and they're still calling canceled listings, all of these things, because they didn't build the relationships with their clients, or at least enough of them. And even if they did just build it on their clients, there's only so many referrals, quote unquote, that we all love to use that they're going to give you. Now, there's different tactics and techniques that you can try to use to be able to get even more referrals, but still that well will eventually dry up. So what do you need to do? Well, in your first 30 days, so this is geared towards an agent that's reinventing their brand and their business, or a brand new agent, or someone who's just thinking about getting in. I want to give you 3 things that I learned early on in my business that have helped me to be able to scale my business, and also that allowed me to do 46 deals in that $8 million in volume in my first year. And it all had to do with my philosophy and my mindset. So we're going to jump right into it. Number 1, be intentional. So what do I mean by that? For so many agents, when they first get into the business, if you ask them, and you might be somebody like that right now, don't be shy, but you got to be real with yourself, because I know I was this way. When people first asked me, what was my intentions in real estate? I never had a clear, concise explanation for what my intentions were. Why? Is because I didn't have any goals. As I've studied, as I've done this podcast, and you all have heard that I've interviewed 6, 7, and even 8-figure earners, the one thing was, for a lot of them, they started out and maybe they were just solving a problem, but quickly they realized that they needed to have clear intentions and clear goals on what they were trying to accomplish, right? Now, they say that 97% of people want to be rich and wealthy and all these things in your heart of hearts. There's very, very few people that don't want to be able to have that. Why? Is because you could talk about money doesn't buy happiness, but at the same time, we all can probably agree poverty won't buy you anything, right? If you talk about the money that you've now made, that you've used as a tool to be able to create happiness for other people, whether that means your spouse, your kids, by getting them into a private school, getting them tutoring, being able to give them good birthday parties where they bring their friends over. There's a lot of different things, right? And even think about it where life happens, right? And now you have medical bills or expenses that you could have never have foreseen, but now because of the money that you've used as a tool to create positive change and impact, now money has been able to buy some happiness. But you have to be clear and concise, again, on what exactly are you trying to accomplish. Okay, if I want to make 6 figures in my first year, I need to first understand what's the average home price in my market, what's the average commission. If it's 3%, okay, well, if I'm doing a $300,000 listing at 3%, that's most likely going to be $9,000. Okay. Well, then I also have to, do I have any royalty fees that I have to pay? What's my split with my broker? Right? How many always be conservative on everything that you do, but how many listings do I have to get then? Because then that means that if we want to make $9,000, that means we probably need to do somewhere around 12 deals at an average commission of $9,000. On the conservative side, we probably want to do more so around 15 deals to be able to get us there. Right now, there's a lot of factors that go into that, but basically my point to you is to figure out what's our goal. We don't have to love the journey or the process, but we got to be married to the destination. Because what that means is if we know that our end goal is $100,000, if we can marry that, that means that whatever happens, as long as we have a big enough why, we're going to keep pulling ourselves back up whenever we get knocked down. Right? So understand what I'm saying there. We got to be intentional and we got to have clear, concise goals. Number 2, we have to be obsessive. So what do I mean by that? Basically, you can't be half committed when you first get in. Why so many real estate agents get in and they're never very successful is because they got in half-heartedly. I know when I first got in, I was thinking that I was going to do a double Dutch, right? For anybody that's ever double Dutch, you got 1 foot in, 1 foot out, you're getting ready, right? And I was going to double Dutch it. I was still working my W-2 job and I felt like I was just going to do real estate part-time time, but what happened was I wasn't going to get any full-time results. And that was the clear case. For me, it was involuntary, but what happened was I wound up losing my mom, my job, and my home all within that same week. And so after that, I was going to go back and get a job, but Julie, my wife, was like, nah, you got this real estate license. You're going to make something shake, or otherwise you're always going to wonder what if. So I wound up jumping into real estate full time. Well, what that allowed me to do was I was doing 2 open houses every single week, and I was doing 3 to 5 coffee and luncheons a week. I was joining Urban League, young professional groups, any networking group, anybody that had an influencer or someone who was doing business, I was at those events. And I was very, very excited. I was obsessed with it. When I was online, I was talking about real estate. When I was offline, I was talking about real estate. There's a quote, and I think I saw it from Ed Milet. For anybody who follows Ed Milet, he's a great guy, and I hope to have Ed Milet on this podcast real soon. But what was great about it, when I saw that, is he said, your obsessions will become your possessions. So I was like, wow, like, oh, like, what do you think about? Think about this. Every single day, if right now you're working a job, ask yourself, how much am I thinking about my job? If you're realistic, it's probably somewhere around 90 to 95%, right? The night before you go to work, you're, man, I probably should go to bed because I know I got to wake up early in the morning and go to my job, right? When you do wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you're thinking? Oh my God, how long do I got before I got to get to the job, right? I got to take my kids to school. Will they give me enough time to get to my job, right? When you get to the job, oh my God, how long do I got to be here at the job, right? Lunchtime, you go on your lunch. Okay, how much time do I got to get back before I got to get to the job? You're constantly always thinking. You plan your vacations around your job. Well, now what you got to do is you got to flip that mentality. I'm not telling you don't think about your job because it's a natural obsession, because that's what you're doing on your day-to-day basis. But what I am telling you is flip your philosophy and now start thinking about, what are my goals, right? And then that goal is going to tell you that's what you got to be obsessed about. Okay, my goal was to make $100,000. Okay, well, that means that I need to make this many contacts every single day. That means that I need to make this many phone calls every single day. That means that I need to be doing this many coffee and lunches, this many open houses. All of those things, that you become obsessed with it, will allow you to be successful in real estate. So that's what number 2 is. Your obsessions will become your possessions, right? And the information, this information, as long as you implement, it will change your situation. But you got to execute on it, and you got to be obsessed about it. It's just like the book. One of my favorite books is Be Obsessed or Be Average by Grant Cardone. You got to be obsessed. You got to be all in. You can't be half-hearted, because otherwise you're going to get half-hearted results. So that's number 2. You got to be obsessed. Number 3, I cannot stress this enough. It is so pivotal that you understand that the value is in building RE. And I'm not talking about real estate in this sense, but I'm talking about relationships. That is so pivotal. For me, I understood that since I didn't already have the knowledge, the only way that I could truly get people to do business with me is I had to show them that I was willing to serve, and I had to show them that nobody was going to outwork me, right? There's a lot of people that get into real estate. It's the easiest field to get into, but the hardest field to be successful at. Why? Is because when you first get in, there's no support. There's nobody that teaches you how to build relationships with buyers, sellers, investors, other people that are outside of the industry, but that could potentially bring you more business. So if you don't understand how to serve them, if you don't understand how to communicate with them, if you don't understand how to act around people to get them excited about real estate, maybe about one day owning their own home, or maybe about one day being able to invest in a real estate and create generational wealth, then they're probably not going to do business with you or refer other people to do business with you. So that's what's very important. Some ways that you can build relationships and build rapport quickly is making sure that you ask people, what are they passionate about? Don't ask them what they do or what their job is, because the reality of it is most people don't like to talk about their jobs. Most people don't like to think about their jobs because they're not happy with their job. They got this job, but it's probably a place of right now where they're settling for it until they can go out and create their own life truly by their design. So you got to ask them, what are they passionate about? When you get to asking people what they're passionate about, then that'll open up more conversation, and they'll eventually get into what are their dreams, what are their long-term goals, if they could do this, if they could do that. That's what you want to do, because now you'll start to hear the excitement, the compassion in their voice, the conviction in their voice, and now you can relate to them to say, oh my God, I would love to travel one day too. If you could go anywhere, where would you go? Well, I've always had my eyes set on Belize or Paris or whatever. Oh my God, I'm thinking about trying to book a trip for my wife there next year. Where would you recommend? Is there some place that you've seen online? So all of these things help you to build a quick rapport, and they feel like that you're not somebody that's trying to sell them or get something from them, but you're somebody that they've just built a relationship with, and you're a cool cat, right? So that's one of the ways that you can build relationships and rapport really quickly. But understand that in real estate, the only people that will survive in the era that we're in right now, which is based off of technology and everything being fast and quick hitting, you have to build long-term relationships. Shout out to, I would say, one of my mentors, Mr. J. King Morrison, the real estate mogul. So why do I give Jay a shot? It's because when I first got into the mindset of getting into real estate, it was because of Jay. So let me explain what I mean by that. A lot of people that know me, they know that I grew up, my mom and grandma raised me. My uncle kind of stepped in to help lead the way. But for me, I never had any financial literacy. I never had any background on how to exactly be successful in life, right? I was one of those kids that I always had big dreams. I had a lot of energy. I was talking back a lot of the times, but at the same time, I was very respectful, let me say. But more importantly, I always knew that I was going to be something big. And people would always tell me, you know, like, hey, you could be anything that you want to in this world as long as, you know, you put the work in. And I was like, okay, you know, that's great, because it gave me a little bit of hope and inspiration. And the people who was naysayers that maybe tried to talk down, to be honest, I mean, early on, I developed some thick skin that I didn't necessarily need whatever their opinion or their advice was. So early on, I knew that I had to stay my course. So then what does Jay Morrison come in at? Well, since I never knew anything about owning or ownership, at this time where I'm really starting to develop my own mindset, where I'm really starting to understand that this life is going to pass me by if I didn't step up and go after my goals, go after my dreams. And for a lot of you all, you're listening right now and you're thinking, oh, well, how can I go after my goals and my dreams? Well, first off, it starts with your philosophy. The great Jim Rohn, if you've ever listened to him, if you haven't, I would encourage you to listen to him. He talks about, you know, when he had no money in the bank, when he wasn't living up to his expectations, to his family's expectations, it wasn't because of the economy. It wasn't because of, you know, his wife. It wasn't because of his boss. It was because his philosophy was broken. So I would challenge you to look at that for yourself. So for me, I really started to look into who I was, but more importantly, what was the skill that I had that I could develop, and how could I turn that into wealth and monetary gains for me and for my family eventually, to start to not only build a foundation, but leave a legacy. So what did that mean? That mean I came across a video, and it was by King Jay, and it had talked about being the Lord of your land. So what did that mean? That meant that I had to figure out a way that I could own some type of real estate and be the Lord of my land. So what did I do? Since I didn't know how to own real estate, I didn't know anything about building wealth through real estate, I looked at exactly what his trajectory was. And he was at the time the celebrity realtor. He was working with a lot of affluent athletes and celebrities, people on the Breakfast Club, all these things. So I was like, okay, well, I know how to build relationships with people. I know that my skill is kind of my gift for gab, as people would always tell me growing up. I got that from my mom. So what better way for me to learn how to own real estate than to get my real estate license just like he did, build relationships, serve other people, helping them create wealth by buying, selling, and investing in the real estate. Then I use my commissions, and then I'll do the same thing, and I buy, sell, and invest myself. So that was the exact trajectory that I was on. So what does that mean for you? That means if you look at someone else and you see that they're in a position that you one day aspire to be in, look at what their trajectory was. Now, you can't completely copy it because there's always different contexts of how they got there, right? But you just got to look at what is the skill that they built upon. Do you already have that skill, or is that a skill that you can develop? And then you go after that same result. So that was what I did. Hopefully you all got some value out of this episode. This is my tips. If I had to start over again, how would I build my business really quickly? How would I do 46 deals? I would focus on those 3 things. I would make sure that I was intentional. I would make sure that I was obsessive, and I would make sure that everything was built around relationships. Remember, in the dream we trust, but you have to take action and execute. Otherwise, it'll only merely be a fantasy. If you've gotten anything out of this episode, do me a favor and head on over to iTunes if you have access and leave me a review. My whole goal is to make sure that I'm serving you all the right way. You're my tribe. You're who I care about. You're why I do this. So if you want to give me any type of thanks, or if you want to let me know whatever your thoughts or your feelings are from this episode or any other episode that you've listened to, leave me a rating or review. And also, if you're looking for more tips, strategies, and even resources when it comes to leveling up your real estate game, head on over to DreamNationAcademy.com. We have a really cool real estate section there, and it's something that I wish that I would have had when I first got started in real estate. So that's DreamNationAcademy.com. Don't wait. I'll see you on the other side.